Good morning. Waking up early, we have the latest in from the National Hurricane Center, and we have some changes. We're going to talk about them. But the first things first, we have hurricane warnings now extended from Grand Isle up through New Orleans. It does include the metro going up towards parts of the North Shore and South Mississippi over towards Alabama. So this is now a hurricane warning, and we have storm surge warnings now from Port Fourchon going all the way up to Ocean Springs and parts of the Mississippi coast as well. Here's the latest on Sally. Sally is strengthening this morning, now up to 50 miles per hour, not too dramatic, but it is getting stronger. In west-northwest, it has sped up at 13 miles per hour. So that is a change as of this morning. Something else we're keeping a very close eye on is the structure of Sally, and it is becoming more organized. And what I've drawn on here are the shear direction that it's been dealing with. In the past couple of days, we've been talking about all the storms have been on the south side. Now I want you to notice we're getting storms on the north side, which we call up shear. And whenever you get storms start to wrap around on the side that is getting shear, that means it is trying to develop a core that's going to protect itself, that can organize more. So we do expect this to strengthen as we go throughout today. Here's some changes to the forecast cone, and there are some changes. All right, so we have it strengthening even more this afternoon, a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. As we go into tonight, nearly a hurricane, and then as we go into Monday, becoming a hurricane. But here's the biggest change, and yes, that is a 2 there, because we're thinking possibly a little bit stronger as it gets closer to landfall, maybe a Category 2 storm as it makes its way towards Southeast Louisiana. Also notice the cone has shifted towards the west a little bit. None of this is great news, by the way, for Southeast Louisiana, because it puts us more in the crosshairs of Sally and potentially a strong hurricane. Now, while that says a 2, 110 miles per hour, 115 miles per hour rather, would be a Category 3. So not there with this forecast. However, it's not out of the question that this tries to become a major hurricane. It depends on what it does today and tomorrow. So we're going to have to watch it close today, because if it can develop that inner core, what I was just showing you, it might try to intensify a little bit quicker. There's still some uncertainty with what the shear is going to do to it today and to tomorrow, but it is possible. And notice they're starting to indicate there that this could be a bit stronger of a hurricane, making landfall in Southeast Louisiana, possibly South Mississippi still as we go into Tuesday morning. Still moving somewhat slower, but they sped it up just a hair going towards landfall. That's why the cone has shifted west. So this is certainly not something we wanted to see, of course, but it just goes to show you that we are certainly not out of the woods with this thing. Now, as we go into Tuesday afternoon, notice it doesn't move very much. They have it right over New Orleans as a Category 1 storm, and then slowly lifting up to the north. So potentially dealing with maybe more of a wind threat if it takes this scenario for much of Southeast Louisiana. Of course, our storm surge threat is going on up as well. The rain threat is still the biggest concern at the moment. However, the wind threat coming up, that's going to be a concern. Here's what we're thinking with the totals, and these could easily try to shift towards the west a little bit now that we've got that new track in. Currently thinking 5 to 10 inches here for the metro, 15 plus inches for portions of the coastal areas. We could see 20 plus inches in isolated pockets, not out of the question with a slow moving hurricane like this. But this is certainly going to be an issue if any of these rain bands, or if the storm moves over the city, over parts of the North Shore. Our rivers are going to flood, things like that. So not trying to scare you, but this is not a good scenario looking at heavy rainfall wise as the storm moves on through. So when we could see some of those stronger winds move in, here's the wind radii forecast. The yellow there are tropical storm force winds. The orange there are tropical storm force winds. You can see they're getting bigger as we go into tonight, into tomorrow, as it becomes a bigger storm. Then as we go into Monday afternoon, notice we're getting those tropical storm force winds closer to the metro by Monday afternoon. That means preparations have to be done today. By tomorrow afternoon, you might not be able to do much, especially along the coastal areas. There's your hurricane force winds in the red there, approaching the mouth of the river as we go into late Monday afternoon into Monday evening. There's your hurricane force winds making landfall early Tuesday morning, but slowly moving up across Southeast Louisiana as we go throughout the day. This would be a big wind problem for all areas of Southeast Louisiana, or at least for New Orleans, the metro, south of the metro, and going to the North Shore, all of South Mississippi as well. So a forecast track like this would be worst case scenario for the storm, because we would be dealing with the main wind threat, we'd be dealing with the heavy rainfall, the flooding rainfall, and we would be dealing with potentially some pretty high storm surge with this storm as you can see there, onshore flow. So here are the latest numbers from the National Hurricane Center with storm surge values. They bumped them up just a little bit, but certainly should get your attention. Now the lake is up to 4 to 6 feet. You've got from Ocean Springs, this includes Hancock and Harrison counties going down towards Lake Bourne, Lower St. Bernard outside the levee protection system, and east bank of Plaquemines Parish, 7 to 11 feet of storm surge. That's getting on up there. Now as you go down towards Port Fourchon, Grand Isle, we bumped up these numbers because if it takes more of that track towards Port Fourchon, Grand Isle, you're going to have storm surge problems down in this area as well. So notice the numbers have jumped up there, and then of course going over towards Alabama and Jackson County, Mississippi. But 7 to 11 feet is significant. Just to give you an idea, for Cristobal earlier this year, we didn't get quite up to that, but we did see quite a bit of flooding, of course, in those low-lying spots. So this would certainly get over Highway 90 in all parts of South Mississippi, past Christian. A lot of places would go underwater there. Parts of Bay St. Louis up in Hancock County, you would see a lot of inundation. Of course, Shell Beach, you would have that location down towards Hopedale. Lower St. Bernard, you have water funneling into Lake Bourne. That could be a problem. And then, of course, the east bank of Plaquemines Parish, models have been indicating that might be the highest surge. And these numbers could certainly go up. It just depends on what the track does and what the intensity does. So the surge is something we're going to be watching very, very closely. I've been talking about the scenarios, and the current forecast is worst case scenario. It really is. Out of all the scenarios, we would see a very high rainfall impact. We would see a coastal flooding impact, storm surge, and we would see a wind impact as well. Now, there's still plenty of uncertainties with this forecast. With all this being said, and this seems scary what I just showed you, there's still some unknowns, right? We still don't know how much it's going to strengthen today. It is going to be battling some of that wind shear. There will be some wind shear as it gets closer to the coast. That could have an impact on the storm. We're just going to have to wait and see. But if it were to take more of this southerly track a little bit further towards the west, we would still see quite a bit of impacts, with heavy rainfall being the main one. We would see storm surge, we would see winds, we would see some tornadoes. Best case scenario, and it's looking less likely, would be more of an easterly track up towards Alabama, maybe towards portions right there on the Florida Panhandle. That would leave us with minimal impact. So with all that being said, you're just going to have to follow this very, very closely. I want to show you a precision cast model just to give you an idea on what we're looking at maybe with rain and when it could start. This is by Monday morning. Notice we're starting to see some showers move in throughout Monday morning into Monday afternoon. That's when conditions will start to go downhill. By Monday evening, things really go downhill. Monday night to Tuesday, that's when we're in the worst of it. You can see they're making landfall. They have it near Grand Isle, but of course there's air of uncertainty there. This means, look at all, you see these wind barbs just continuing to push up. This is when surge would be at its highest as it makes its way towards. So, of course, this is worst case scenario for Mississippi coast for surge and lower St. Bernard, Plaquemines, the lake, things like that. So certainly not something we want to see unfold, but we do need to watch this closely. Your 7-day forecast, just to give you an idea of planning and things like that. We could see a few storms today, showers and storms. It looks a bit drier. Preparations have to be done today if you're doing them. Tomorrow, we'll start dry. We'll see this rain band start to move in late in the day. Wind will pick up by Monday afternoon into Monday night. Monday night into Tuesday, the storm will be here somewhere in the vicinity of Southeast Louisiana or South Mississippi, just depending on the track, of course, and that's going to determine your impacts. And then by Wednesday, very slow moving storm still means we're going to be seeing some rainfall across the area, so flooding potential continues into Wednesday. Thursday, we're still going to have strong onshore flow, maybe a few storms, and that even continues with rain chances into Friday. So that's the 4 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center. Of course, we're going to have much more right here on Eyewitness News starting at 6 o'clock. We're going to do extended coverage for you this morning for a couple of hours, so you can join us then for the latest information. Of course, we get our next update at 7 a.m. and our next full update with a track adjustment at 10 a.m. later this morning. For now, we're going to send you back to regular programming.
From Channel 4's Eyewitness News, this has been your local weather expert alert.